All right, welcome back to another episode of the Marketplace Mavericks. And just like 2 weeks ago, I promised everybody the next episode we were bringing our first woman guest on, and I one-upped it, and Pete brought his wife on too. So we today are going to dive in with Pete and Rachel and Lynn and Steve, who are two husband and wife couples that have kind of tackled Amazon together, which is how we've kind of seen a lot of different folks do this, to kind of split up the work and each one of you kind of take your strengths, and everything like that. So we want to welcome Lynn and Steve and Rachel. Rachel's obviously, she's always around this podcast from afar because she's the brains behind uh,
True.
Pete's.
True.
So, and we understand that. Um, but Lynn, why don't you start off by kind of giving a rundown of how long you've been in Amazon and kind of what made you come into Amazon and what you were doing before?
Okay. So we started working together on Amazon back at the end of May. So only for a couple months now. And I would say we got started in this. I have a coworker that I've known for over 30 years, and her son, she kept talking about him like, oh, he's in school, but he started selling on Amazon. She's like, I don't really know what he's doing. And so she would give me updates here and there, and here to find out and hearing more and more about him. Like, he's big in the Amazon world, so it's kind of interesting to hear how he was going out and doing like different books and flipping and to doing clothes, and now he's got a warehouse. So I'm like, all right, well, if he can do it and hustle, I'm like, there's no reason why I can't do this and hustle. So, being a little naive, but I previously in my prior life, or I guess I still am working full time, but I started as a dietitian, then got into food service management, and then got into pharmaceutical logistics and supply chain. So I would say that that's definitely more my strong suit, like in joining this business. Like, I have more of an idea of, inventory and replenishment, that type of thing. And my husband, Steve, is more from the accounting world. So he kind of,
Oh,
being the accountant and CFO, he kind of holds my feet to the fire. Like, why didn't you put the pricing in? So,
all
so
right.
we kind of balance each other
Yeah.
out that way, I would
So
say.
Steve, you've been in accounting. Are you still a full-time job doing accounting?
Nah, full time ish. No, I'm doing so they call it like fractional CFOing, right?
Okay.
So I'll have like two or three companies that I'm acting as a CFO for. And I've always been with tech companies, so and startups.
Yep.
So they don't always need a full time guy, so I can do two or three.
All right. So you
Yeah.
guys really have a pretty good background,
Yeah.
um, that can kind of work into Amazon. I mean, accounting is definitely a helpful. Accounting is a helpful background in any
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it. It's definitely not me. But I think with you with logistics,
Mhm.
pharmaceutical, now that you're starting to think about wholesale, that really gives you a leg up when you start talking to those type of brands. You're going to be able to come in and really show some value and really hit
Yep.
some education in that
Yep.
sort of field, which can really help, with getting your foot in the door with wholesale. So, and Rachel, you started this with Pete, but
I
you're
started.
also working, aren't
Oh,
you?
right. Yeah. I have actually multiple businesses already. And he wanted to start this in January. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, I can help you. I can help a little. It's turned out to be another full-time job for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But, we found our strengths, and mine is shopping and sourcing. And
Yep.
um, I started off doing a lot of RA. Now I'm really trying to get into OA because I just don't have the time. Uh,
Right.
But he does he goes out with me to do RA. We talk about OA. I'm constantly sending him screenshots of things and saying, what do you think of this? Take another look. What am I missing? Because I still feel like I'm missing different things on listings.
Yeah, I come at it probably more from an analytical perspective.
Yep.
So whenever she'll suggest a product, I'll be looking through Keepa. I'll be looking at the comparison of other products and trying to find exactly, what are we missing on here that could keep us from just holding this inventory forever and not turning it over. So
Right.
we have strengths, from one perspective or another, that really kind of balance each other out.
Yeah.
I think
we
you guys
have very
having like
different
two different
goals.
ends to being able to talk to each other, and both kind of help out with the other person isn't the strong point, can make for a really good team with this sort of thing.
Right. And we have different roles that we do. Like I've never listed one product. He does all the listing. I've never paid one bill. I just send him, keep spending, and he sends me a thumbs up and we're good. We
All
keep
right. I mean, that sounds like a pretty happy marriage.
Sounds awesome.
So now, Lynn and Steve, you're really moving. It sounds like your guys' goal here, because I would say you guys are a lot like me. I sold the business back in December, but kind of working up to that, I was kind of in that quasi like I was working but not really working, wasn't there 9 to 5, and that's how I discovered Amazon, because it was basically like, oh, like after March 1st, I'm going to really not have a job. And
Yeah.
I still have 2 kids to put through college. And I'm like, well, we are not in retirement yet. So, I jumped into it full time. And Pete was kind of lagging behind me a little bit because he was still working, but he also knew his was coming to an end. And you guys are kind of in your, probably similar to what I was. You're working, but you're not grinding 5-6 days a week, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And the Amazon thing is like every other business. I always say, even though it's different, is that in the beginning you work a whole lot more than you get paid. And that's where I always say, I'm like, it's like any other business. You work more, and you get paid less. And the idea is that it eventually, it pays off. And it looks
Somehow
like
I enjoy it more.
and it
It's
looks
weird.
like you guys are moving towards wholesale.
Sure.
I would like to do.
Yeah.
I'm still working full time though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is more definitely more evenings, weekends. So that's been difficult to juggle, I would say, and it sounds like Rachel's kind of in the same boat. It's you just find the time to do it
Yeah.
in
Now, do you
between
guys have
everything
kids
else.
also?
We do. We have 2 that are in college.
Okay, so
So
you're
Just like you.
yeah, so it's financially it's we could use the extra money right,
well, I
right
mean, we're
about
all
now.
But the idea is like the vision is for the future, right? I mean, to some
Yeah.
degree, the way we're thinking about it is, especially while we still have some, probably like you guys were thinking about, right? While we have some employment and some cash flow, start setting this up now where we don't have to take
A
a
paycheck.
salary or anything to live, right? But hopefully it'll sort of dovetail with our kids, maybe either getting out of college and wanting to do it and
Mhm.
take it over, or at least have it be some cash flow to help get them started in life. And we both, maybe you all have had it too, but we both experienced kind of ageism. I mean, it's really the truth. It's like, people start looking at you like, God forbid you turn 50,
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I
We're
I
50
think
plus.
it's
that's
just like,
that's
might as
one
well
of the
be dead.
biggest things I found with the difference between the kids starting it at 18, 19, 20 years old, and us starting it. And the difference is those kids, they're jumping into it, flipping the books, flipping the sneakers, flipping the stuff,
Yeah.
Mhm.
FBMing. They are doing it because they are really starting with not much.
Yeah. They have
They
nothing to
are
lose.
making their own Discord groups, Twitter or X groups,
Great.
and really making their own school group within those, where people more in our age, a lot of times it's either just want some extra money, or leaving a profession like I did, reinventing yourselves, or setting stuff up for later, where we are in the position of, I don't need to flip books just to put like enough money to eat next week in my pocket. I have some money to invest into this. I don't need a paycheck right away. And one of the biggest reasons that brought me into this business was I've owned brick and mortar and stuff like that. And I know just the massive amount of money you have to dump into it.
Yeah.
And with Amazon, yes, the inventory can get expensive. However, I say to myself, yeah, but I don't have rent. I don't have employees other than one VA. I don't have insurance. I don't have
Marketing.
marketing. I have nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and yes, my inventory, I said, but if I had like I say now, I'm like, if I stopped selling today and didn't sell one more thing, I'd make all my money back. You know,
Yeah.
that's there's an asset to that. And I think so it's a little bit different for more of our age demographic getting into it. Because we're just in a little different point in our life than when we were 20 years old. And I respect the 20-year-old hustle. I love it.
Oh,
Flipping the books and starting with
yeah.
nothing. I love that. But I always say, I'm like, like me personally, I didn't do the FBM. I just stuck with FBA. I didn't do OA for very long. I knew wholesale was where I wanted to go. I did the online arbitrage for the minimum time possible. As soon as I got it, I understood it, and I kind of
Yeah.
had that proof of concept. I immediately went, okay, now I want to do my wholesale. So it's different for everyone. Um, but what have you guys thought of? Have you done more OA or RA?
We've definitely done more OA.
Okay.
Yeah. I
And
mean, I
Kate, you're
did
more
some
RA.
RA. Yeah.
We've done a combination of both
Mhm.
OA and RA.
I think beginning we did more RA
Right.
because OA was so just overwhelming and intimidating. But now we're like, okay, we really have to scale up. And going into a store and finding 3 of one product is frustrating.
There's a big time requirement to
Mhm.
do that as well. And we're finding we're running out of that. So we're shifting over our focus over to OA more so than RA.
We've been turned off a little bit to RA, haven't we?
Yeah. I did it with some other people in the school group, and we
Mhm.
were out doing it, and I did buy one product, and we got a section 3 on it. And yeah, oh
Oh,
yeah. It was like
oh,
horrifying. I was
you
like,
got that out of the way
3
quick.
months. 3 months in,
Oh.
we're crushing it. We're doing like 3 months in, we're crushing it. We're doing $2,000 days, and then
Oh,
bam! We literally bought 4 units of it,
yeah, yeah. I was just like,
and
"Ugh."
it was like 100. We got it from Ollie's, right? It was like 100 count. We bought it as 100 count. The ASIN said 96,
Yeah.
but we had a limited edition. So who knows, right? But
yeah.
Yeah.
so
Well,
we
you
had to
can
go through the
always,
whole thing.
I'm
you
like, all
can't
right, I'm
always,
done.
yeah. The RA, and a lot of it, the RA depends on where you live. I live
Yeah.
in an area that RA just like basically doesn't. I don't even live near a Walmart, so
Yeah.
Mm.
You'd have to travel far.
I would have to travel far.
Yeah,
I mean, I
right.
have a Walmart. It's a small Walmart.
Yeah.
And it's 40 minutes away. So I don't have. I never
Yeah.
did the RA.
Right.
I tried it one time at Ollie's and I failed miserably. So I stuck with the OA.
It looks good. I mean, it definitely. There's lots of It seems
It's hard for
Pete,
replens with
Rachel,
RA.
right? I mean, you
Yeah.
probably see a lot of really good flips you can do.
Yeah.
But that 10-day stretch of Section 3, I thought
Oh, yeah.
she was
Yeah.
not a happy camper.
So for
Oh,
those that are
I was
listening that
freaking
may not
out.
know what a Section 3 is, why don't you give
Yeah.
us a quick little summary of what that
Really?
is? Section 3.
So a section 3 is basically when Amazon like freezes your account, and they said you can't sell, we're holding your product, we're not dispersing your funds. They hold on to everything, and you have to, like, whatever the reason is, you have to disprove it. So it was, is this an authentic product that we had purchased? So then you have to do a whole write up. It's
The mess.
you have to submit all your receipts that you used. You have to submit pictures of it.
over and over again
over
to get
and
by the
over again.
It's like getting ungated sometimes.
Oh yeah, it was worse. It was like a lot more involved. So
because your future, the whole thing's riding on it, right? Like if they never
Yeah.
let you back in, you just wasted. You've got whatever money invested in inventory, 3 months, 4 months, 2 years, whatever.
yeah.
Luckily, as you keep selling on Amazon, I just checked, I'm about 30 days away from being able to. When you, for a little advice, when you pay attention to your health score,
Yep.
once your health score is 250 and above for 6 months or 90 days, something like that, you can then apply for basically like this insurance protection, and Amazon won't ever section 3 you until
Ooh,
they
did
give
not
you
know
warning
that.
and saying we're going to section 3 you, but they kind of hold everything
Nice.
instead of just all of a sudden opening your computer and seeing section 3.
Can't sell. Yeah.
Right, because when you're starting off, everyone's score is low. I looked at
Correct.
a friend of mine's score that got me into this, and my score sits around. I've been doing this since February. My score sits around 280, 290.
Wow.
His score is 850.
Wow.
Wow.
So it goes up as you sell. So everyone starts with a low
Right.
score.
Right.
It's staying over 200 and getting up over 250 and staying over 250 is really one of the biggest, one of the biggest things with health. And once you hire a VA, your VA will usually take care of your health, because that's what I've jumped into now. But I think, with you guys starting in your first couple months, you guys just came out hot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was like I guess it was like 2 months in when that happened to us. Because
It was July. It was the end of July. So we did May, June. May was like a little bit. And then, we went from like 1,000 to 5,000. And then we were at
like 18.
Yeah.
Like middle of July, and then it stopped.
Yeah.
And the person that got you into this, because it's kind of funny, he was young. The person that got me or introduced me originally to it was somebody that I coached high school football for 15
Get out.
years.
You coached him in high school football?
I still coached him not that long ago. He was only like 23. And I coached him in high school football, and I coached him in his prep school too. And it was kind of funny that it was a younger person that got me into it. And having, he already has, and now he must be fully, has he helped you at all during this? Or have you just kind of got the idea from him?
Because I'm close with his mom. I mean, and I knew him as a young kid. We still work together. Yeah, I still work with his mom. So I still hear his stories, but, I DM'd him on Instagram and stuff like that. So he and I have kind of talked there and through school.
Did you make it clear that like Miles was his coach?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was he introduced
so it's a connection.
Miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, even in the internet, it's a small world.
Oh, it totally is.
Even in the internet, it's a small world.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. She's always been entrepreneurial, and through 20 years. Let's start doing this. Let's do this. I started getting the account like, enough of your we just got to work hard, grind. And then I said, I need something. I'm an accountant, right? I need something, finance guy, something a little more proven, right?
I mean, this.
She said, okay, this guy makes a lot of money every year, and okay, so it just feels right. It feels like it's legitimate and a real opportunity.
And Miles always says something of, if it was easy, everyone would do it.
That's
It's true. It's hard. Yeah. It's really hard, and to
get
into
hard.
it's not that easy, and you learn really quickly. I learned really quickly.
Yeah,
OA wasn't for me.
Yeah,
it's not for me. I think there's two different mindsets. I did not like it. I can source. I didn't like it. I'm not. It just. I didn't mind learning it. When I see people doing, and I talk to people that are doing 100, 150, 200,000 a month in OA, I'm like, I don't even know
how they do it.
I have no idea. Kudos to them. They make money. Yeah. My only thing with OA is two things. Number one, you are adding no value to your business. You don't have a business, you have a hustle. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I respect the hustle, and you're making money. And I also think, like, when these kids are doing 100 grand at 21 years old, big deal. So it's a hustle. It's a hustle better than all of their other friends. And chances are, if they're good enough at that hustle, I'm not too worried about them building a sustainable business down the road. So when I
Yeah.
say it's a hustle, I don't mean that in a way like, hey, you shouldn't do it. But for me, I was like, I realized in OA, I was like, my business isn't creating any value. And it's like Pete and I always talk about, it's like a hamster wheel. You get on that hamster wheel and you start sourcing, you can't get off the hamster wheel unless you hire other hamsters like VAs to source for you. And then it's a whole hamster wheel of training and retraining VAs over and over and over again.
It's a hamster farm.
Yeah, you have a hamster farm. And yeah, that was my biggest thing, is like, if I stop today and sell out, my business is not worth anything. I said in wholesale, now that I'm starting to speak with and trying to get exclusives with brands, that means we go into contract. That means I have a binding 3 to 5 year contract and I am buying their product. If I move into private label, I have a contract. I have something that I can sell. If I grow myself to 10 brand exclusive accounts, now I have something that if I don't want to do this anymore, it's worth money.
You can sell it off. Yeah.
I could sell it off. I could say, it's probably it's not a brick and mortar type thing, but it's worth money to a pattern, to somebody bigger to take it off, or just have somebody manage it. There's people who manage Amazon wholesale accounts, kind of like I own commercial property, kind of like a property manager manages your commercial property. You can be hands free and just take the money every month. So, I think that's the biggest reason why I wanted to go into wholesale, and why I think when you guys get into it more, you're going to like wholesale also. And I will also get Pete into it, because Pete's going to become a wholesaler too.
You're not, Pete, you're not really thinking it?
Not yet. I had an opportunity here a couple of months ago. I guess it's been about a month ago now, that didn't pan out. But yeah, my goal is to eventually get there as well.
So you're not against it. You're just not there yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, mine was also, I needed to scale quickly, even though, when I shut my business down, it was, hey, don't need to pay myself for about a year, or really until I still say I wish I started this a year ago now, when I wasn't really doing much.
Yeah.
I wish I started it then, but that is what it is. But when I think my first sales were March 1st. I think I signed up with Miles end of January. And I kind of said to myself, I'm like, all right, beginning of 2026, I need to be able to start paying myself. And so that's why I moved into wholesale quickly, because I also quickly learned, when I first got my first 10K month, I was really pumped. And then I quickly figured out, I'm like, that's not a lot. And that doesn't really, I looked at kind of on paper what you made, and it was, the margins. I'm like, that's not a lot either.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so this is a numbers game. And that's when I realized, I was like, okay, so the first goal is 50K. I feel like that's kind of the beginning. Probably still not enough to pay yourself if you want to scale. It's 100. And I tell people that, I'm like, when you want to start paying yourself, that means, now I'm paying a VA full time, but everything else with reinvesting, I was like, no, it's 100K. When you can really, if you can wait that long, is when you can start giving yourself a living wage, some sort of living wage.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, I've never paid myself a lot. We just figure out other ways to acquire money. That makes accountants nervous. That always made my
not at all.
Not to them. But that was really kind of a realistic view of what I had, because I thought 100,000 a month to gross. I'm like, that's a lot. But then when you look at really how the margins work and everything, I'm like, oh no, to get to 100, you got to spend 50. Is really what it is. So you're spending half of that. I said, okay, that's pretty good still. When I talked to my accountant stuff, he was like, yeah, that's not bad. Spend 100, spend 50, get to 100. And that's really hasn't changed from the get-go with that.
How have you found it, starting now that we're thinking of wholesale? How has that transition been for you? What's been the biggest challenge?
So a couple of things with wholesale is what I would tell people is get your systems in place early, because when you start to scale, it can move very quickly. Um, because it's hard to put if so, I hear a lot of people say, oh hey, you can start wholesale with 5 to 10,000. You could. The problem is when you start making cold calls and you start calling and you start talking to brands, you can't pass up something in those first 3 months. You have to be prepared to spend some money.
To
Because
jump
if you
on it.
call one brand and they're like, oh, okay, we'll sell it to you, and you spend 3 or 4 thousand with them, and then 3 weeks later, you speak to another brand, and the brand says, well, listen, we already have 4 Amazon sellers. We're looking to add one more seller, but that's it. Maybe we can add you. You have to do it
Oh,
because if
yeah.
you're
What's the decision on? Is it on capital?
it is usually
Consistency
on
of
capital.
capital to
People
go
trying to
forward?
start, yes, people trying to really be slow in getting their capital out. Because when the opportunity comes with wholesale, if you're able to talk to a brand that is actually knowledgeable enough to know they need to limit the amount of Amazon users
Yep.
on the market, and they might say to you, like, we might add one more Amazon user, you can't say no because you already know, even before they tell you a price, there's other Amazon users that they
Oh,
deal with,
just waiting.
so they know that they're already selling it and making money. And you have a brand that is responsible enough not to flood the market in that brand. So something like that, I always say, I'm like, listen, that's the brand you need to go with. But if you've
Yeah.
already kind of spent your capital when it's a small amount and you have to just be like, oh no, I'll pass. Let me tell you, it's 6 months from now when you haven't talked to a brand that said those words to you again, you're going to kick yourself. So I always tell people, like, when you go into wholesale, be prepared. Um,
So I have a ton of, so I'm flipping the table on you now.
Well, I was going to
Go
ask
right
you,
ahead.
do you have a pitch ready? Like in your mind, do you have a pitch for us?
No,
And is that
no,
like
no.
what would
I need to, I guess I need to understand more like the steps of,
because guess who's going to do the selling?
Yeah. The selling it's a lot of it is just screwing up a bunch of times and getting
yeah,
no, and like
yeah,
the phone, it just becomes like easier.
right,
And it's really like getting an order in, speaking to somebody, and then like I'm almost 3 months in and I've started to come up with my own methods of
right. What you're
speaking.
comfortable with.
Yeah, because my whole thing is I don't deal with any distributors. I am all brand direct.
Mm.
I don't want a
Okay.
middleman. Distributors can work. You're cutting the pie one more time.
Mm.
Right.
Uh, and when I'm dealing with a brand, you are really selling what every other Amazon seller isn't selling. So I've come into is I have 4 exclusives that I'm working right now, and all 4 of those brands, I have worked myself into getting them to add me to their registry, which gives me the power to optimize their pages. This is something I learned when I hired my VA. And that
Mm.
would
Okay.
be the second thing. I had a part-time VA, nice kid, 22, 23 years old. Kind of felt like having like a high school kid work for you after school. Didn't work my hours, worked a little in the morning, a little at night. Did do the admin stuff that I don't know a ton about and I don't have time to learn it. Did some OA sourcing for me. Okay. I'm glad I didn't get a section 3. And but I knew he wasn't going to be my future. He wasn't who I knew from owning a business. I'm like, to have that right hand, that go to is just so nice. And
Mm.
that's when I really pushed for and spent the money, found a VA who had 2 years experience working at Amazon and 6 years
Mm.
experience as a brand manager for an agency, meaning she managed a group of brands. And she, on the back end of Amazon, is a wizard. She knows how
Wow.
to do everything. And when I say everything, she can build A+ content. She can optimize pages. She can go in the back end, and it's called flat filing, and it's a whole different way. Exactly. I know as much as you do right now. But she can just do everything. She started making me variations of products we were buying and packing them together and making our own listing that would shadow the other listings. I just
Super smart.
She knows what she's doing.
She knows the business. Like she's
Yeah.
super smart in Amazon.
Right. And she was just like,
Successful
listen,
business, you got to hire good people, right? I mean, it's always, if you're gonna
yeah.
build a
And she
business.
told me, she was like, why don't we get in these brands registries? Once you're in their registry,
Yes.
now you can optimize their page, bring in more sales, and I was like, and I can show value, what everybody else isn't doing, and start to say, like, hey, instead of hiring an agent, in my pitch is instead of hiring an agency, you can go out and hire an agency that does PPC, all that stuff, and pay them. I said, I do the same thing. However, I don't charge you. I'm buying from you. And if you go exclusive with me, you have somebody that actually has skin in the game and is doing what the agency does. So I want you to succeed because I succeed.
You succeed.
And it's like the easiest sell to do with them, because A plus content does cost money to make, but if I'm going exclusive with someone, I absorb that. And it's just opened up for me in the past 3 weeks a whole different side of Amazon.
It doesn't sound like it's a ton of money though to do A plus.
No,
You guys were saying 300, 400.
the brands
I
don't
thought
know.
you were going to say 3,000 or 4,000.
No, the brands don't know. So, and it might cost them more money. We're using VAs and stuff. It's kind of like, I had a VA build out my website for $200, $300. My IT guy that I used for my business was like, oh, that would have cost you $1,000 with me. So chances are, if you do use an agency, it probably is.
It does cost that.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive. But these VAs do it for less, and there's VAs, it's all they do. So it's not like it's hanky or
They're
not.
very niche.
Yeah, they're very niche with it. And that's just the type of things with Amazon that you'll learn, and you learn pretty quickly. Like I always say to people, I'm like, they're like, well, I just started, and I always say, I'm like, okay, me too. Like I'm 6 months, 7 months in. Like Pete and I are not, we always tell people, I'm like, we're not far behind you. It just, if you really dive into Amazon with me, it became my full-time job immediately. You learn a lot because you have no choice.
There's a lot to do.
Yeah, there's a lot to do, but it's really stuff that you guys will start seeing in the wholesale world. And it's super awkward when you start. You're going to fumble over your words. They're going to tell you they don't do it. You're not going to know what to say, and you're going to hang up the phone, and then you do it 20 more times. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. Like,
I got it now.
You just kind of figure it out, and then you just start just creating a relationship like in any sense.
So what's the very first step Lynn should do?
Lynn should do?
No, well, what
learn how to source wholesale using Keepa or Smart Scout, either one of those. That'll be the cool thing you're going to learn with the wholesale, the online classes, is different people do it different ways, and either way works. Some people like to use a Smart Scout. I've had luck with Smart Scout. Some people do it strictly with Keepa. Keepa works fine. I just started generating lists, and my goal was 100 calls a week. I will make 100 calls a week, 20 a day, and just do it. And then all of a sudden, those follow-ups start adding up, and then you start putting a couple orders in, and then those orders, and now I don't have time to make calls all day long.
That's awesome.
I'm doing follow-up. I'm doing this. I'm doing so, and I'm growing slowly, and I'm still selling through my OA stuff, but I completely stopped doing OA about a month ago, and just said, you know what? If I go flat a little bit in sales, big deal. What's that, Pete?
I was just going to say, Leonard, are you also in the same, wholesale program that John's in in the group?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we just joined this week.
Yeah.
Or end of last week.
Okay. Yeah, we are not in that group. So we're looking. I'm constantly trying to see what I learned from John.
Yeah, but I'll give you all the good stuff from the group. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll give you all the I'll give you all the important
There
stuff.
you go.
So yeah, Pete, what else do you have to add for today?
Really, I'm glad that you're able to come on, you and Steve and Lynn, just so that we can kind of, I don't know, see what it takes to, I guess, manage this whole Amazon journey from a partnership perspective. From not just one person going out and trying to do it all themselves, but really, you know, if you have a full-time job, which you guys do, and just sort of trying to balance that with buying and selling on Amazon. And I'm glad you guys are able to join us to kind of see what that experience looks like from our perspective.
In,
Oh,
in my
thank you.
perspective, I think now that I've done this for a little while now, as a side hustle, kind of how you guys are doing it now, I think wholesale fits a side hustle more than OA.
It's got to be less prep and all that other stuff. Yeah.
There is no prep.
Yeah. You know,
Most brands don't even
I
want
feel
to
bad
mail to your
myself.
house, so it
Oh,
almost
yeah.
has to go to a prep.
Yeah.
And there's no hamster wheel. All it would be is you taking the time, making the phone calls, and the most beautiful thing about wholesale and some of I've now started to doing replens. The replens are an email or a
That's
phone call.
awesome.
Hi, I'll take 3 dozen more. Okay, click, done. So I think wholesale is more of a side gig. It can definitely be full time. Is almost more of a side. You're the only thing with wholesale is you're not getting that immediate satisfaction of like, click, I bought it, it's coming here, or I go to the store and I buy it. But as far as time, wholesale is going to save you more time. Like, yes, I am putting in a lot of hours because I have the time now, and my idea is in 2 years, I'm not going to have to put those hours in. But I think wholesale is more of a side hustle than anything else because you can put in much larger orders
Yeah.
and the price is much more competitive, much more stable. As soon as you start sourcing with wholesale, you know how you always want to see those squiggly lines on a Keepa chart?
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Doesn't matter.
You want to see a straight line going right
Really?
across. Yeah, it
Okay.
changes everything. You honestly, you look at a Keepa chart completely differently. It's not the squiggly lines. It's you want less sellers, you want a straight line, and there's no variations in wholesale 95% of the time. So you're looking right in seller amp at how many units sold a month. And that's how you're going by. And then you can look at sales rank if it's a seasonal item, and you use the Keepa chart, not religiously. And then you learn
Okay.
like all new things. My VA doesn't use Keepa. She uses something called Helium 10.
Hmm.
I
And
heard you
like
mention that today.
we're so like in our heads, like Keepa, seller amp, and they are great. But then you start realizing
Yeah.
like, oh, there is other stuff that people use. And that's why with her, she was like, this is how I like to do it. And she gave me a whole presentation. And I just sat there going, okay, you do it your way.
Yep.
Like, it's you're gonna learn that. But yeah, I would say if you're, still crunched on time, that shouldn't be a distraction from doing wholesale. The only distraction that it would prevent you a little bit is you really need to make the phone calls during the day. Because
Right.
weekends doesn't work with wholesale, nights doesn't work with wholesale. And if you just rely on shooting emails, not my method. Some people can, you just have to shoot out so many. I don't know if it's worth it. I'm
It's
more of
probably
a,
like a numbers game. Like
yeah, I
anything.
pick up a
Yeah.
phone. I would rather talk to someone. That's actually the part of wholesale that I like the most is it kind of gets you away from the computer and you actually talk to a human being and like create a relationship. And
Yeah.
that's how you really you know, get those big accounts. That's how I closed my first exclusive. Like you helped them, you got on the phone with them. I did video chats with them. I, you know, jumped through hoops and I got the exclusive. So, yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
see
I
you
make
at
money, it's going to be exciting. It's a little different. The product is not launched yet. So we are a lot of brand analysis, but I'm learning a ton. And honestly, hiring my VA was the biggest change for me. And I kind of felt like it would be. I was
Yeah.
like, if I
I
could
think
just
we
have
need a better
someone,
one. We have one.
yeah, if I could
But he's
just
not-
have someone
we
that I
need a
can,
better one.
He's a sourcing VA. Like, he's a sourcing VA
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and sort of an admin VA. He's not
Mm-mm.
that.
No.
no, it's just the back end. It's like all I have to do is worry about sales. And I know when I give this stuff to her,
It happens.
It just happens. And I can see my health soar. I can see if stuff that she wasn't doing, you can see it on your dashboard. But other than that, it just happens. And that's how you want it. And I pay them well. And I'm going to pay her more going forward.
Right.
And that means so much to them. This is what's great, right? I feel great. It's not a huge amount to people in our country, right? But to them,
no, it's costly.
They're
It's
living
different.
really well, and it's kind of nice to be able to make a difference in people's lives, right?
Yeah, and you're making a difference to them. You're giving them a real living wage.
Yeah.
And like a little bit of a bump and stuff in price and in their pay is a lot. I pay my VA, which is a little in the around $9 an hour.
Yeah.
And that's good, but she's going to make more.
Yeah.
I know of a friend of mine who's big in wholesale. He pays his VA $15 an hour. And he told me, he's like, she was getting 10 and she was so good, I just gave her 15. I said, but he goes, that's the difference from being paid $80,000 a year and your boss coming and saying, I'm going to give you 130.
Right.
It's huge.
Yeah. He's like, they're never leaving.
Yeah.
They're never leaving. I've had another friend pay for his VA's wedding, $3,500.
Yes. Think about that.
And he was like, he said it felt so good to do. And it was, he was a much bigger business. He's like, but 3,500, it's a lot of money, but for a wedding, it's not a lot of money. And I was like, I could do it. And he goes, and it's a beneficial, like it felt good doing it. I made them happy. And yes, they're never quitting. So those are the type of things with the business going forward that, I think owning a business before, you just see the value of good employees and the value of when you don't have a good employee, don't keep them, let them go. So, but it was great having you guys on. It was our first couples podcast. It was our first couples podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for including us.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome. And Stephen Lynn, I am always in that group. So when you have questions for me, you can always, shoot me questions. Sometimes I can answer them, or sometimes I'll just people say I'll at least give you my opinion. So we'll blame.
Good enough.
So Pete, do you have anything else to add?
I don't. Again, thanks again, Steve and Lynn, for joining us, and hopefully we can do this again, maybe in a couple of months, and kind of see where you guys with wholesale. I think it'll be really interesting and exciting to see where you guys end up.
Thank you.
Pete, where can everyone find us?
Hopefully you guys.
Pete, where can everyone find us?
Yeah, so we're marketplacemavericks@gmail.com. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, John, because I think that more importantly, I think people should probably just make comments under our video.
They should.
Instead of sending an email, which I think is what people normally do anyway nowadays. But again, we're sort of in the 50s, or I guess you 40s, John, but age range. So we're not really up to speed yet on how to communicate online.
They can subscribe too. They can like the video.
Yeah.
They can do all that.
Subscribing, I think that's the thing. Yeah,
like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, not send a telegraph or a telegram.
Exactly. Well, thank you for coming on. And next week, I don't know what we have, but Blake will be back, I think. Hopefully.
Should be. He's on an Alaskan cruise right now, so I think they're out for a couple of weeks actually.
Lucky him. Well, we'll be back next week for another episode of Marketplace Mavericks.